Welcome to Bhakti Sangha Japa Conference. So today's class will be given by His Grace Gaur and Natraj Prabhuji on the topic of Sri Caitanya Caritamrta, Madhya Leela, chapter 25 and verse number from 28 onwards. Prabhuji, are you there on the call?
I have not seen him still join, so we'll just wait for a couple of minutes. I think he'll be on the way because he did check with me regarding the class and all that. So he will be in a minute. So just let's wait.
Okay, that's okay. Thank you. Welcome to Bhakti Sangha Japa Conference, Prabhuji. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much for giving me a very valuable time and association to us this morning and enlightening us on this topic. I now hand over the call to you, Prabhuji. Please take over the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Brahmajnanatimirandasya jnananjanashalakaya chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Caitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakamam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagragatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sadivam Sadvaitam Savdutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Radha Krishna Padan Sarinam. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavane Hari Vrishana Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Vitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So thank you once again to all devotees for inviting me to this conference talk. We are reading from the Madhya Leela, chapter 25, verse 28. Shri Krishna Vakya Dhrada Satya Manu Kali Kale Sannyasa Samsara Nahi Jan. The words of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are firm and convincing, and I accept them in the age from the material fluxes simply by formally accepting the renounced order. Hare
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, can you be a little louder?
Louder?
Yes, please. Thank you.
So here we find that acceptance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's words, especially Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's explanation on the Hare Nama Eva Kevalam, the holy name only, is very, very significant. Now, there is the understanding of this point is that in Kali Yuga, for the final deliverance, there is no other way except the chanting of the holy names of Krishna. Now, there are many people who practice many different types of spiritual practices, so to speak. We find people practicing yoga, many people practicing yajna, many people just studying the scriptures, yoga yajna, jnana yajna, tapo yajna. So there are many different types of practices that people do. But ultimately, all these practices must come to the point of everyone should come to the point of chanting the holy name of the Lord. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to attract all groups because he knew that what he is giving is not just Yuga Dharma but Prema Dharma. Mayavadis engage in lot of silence, Mauna Vrat. They engage in lot of austerities. So similarly, Jnanis engage in a lot of study. And many other groups, they engage in a lot of other practices. And today we find also, in today's world also, we will find that there is so many groups. Just like there is so many groups today which are practicing so many things. Just like this art of living. They just do some breathing and they just do some bhajan here and there. And they try to relax and calm down, which is achieved. So similarly, there are other mutts and groups we find like the Sringeri Mutt and others. So they are engaged in study of the scriptures and practicing Mayavad philosophy. All over the world today, yoga and practice of meditation, and we see similarly there are different groups like Maharshi Mahesh Yogi, and they believe in transcendental meditation. So they are at different fruitive paths. So they are either in Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, and everybody is in any of these yogas, provided he is getting sense and mind control. So if we develop sense and mind control, that is the first step. And when there is sense and mind control, and we are all serious about self-realization, so that's when the ultimate conclusion of Hare Namaiva Kevalam becomes prominent. Because this mantra requires no background. For example, although in the other yogas, people might control their senses, people might control their mind even, and the yogis may attain siddhis, or the jnanis may attain knowledge of the Brahman. And once they attain the knowledge, they engage in meditation, which is a very, very difficult task to sit and meditate. That requires sitting in the proper position, that requires freedom from family life. Because you cannot be in the middle of samsara, you cannot be in the middle of family life. and you can and achieve and then try to achieve some kind of meditative situation. And because people are so stressed out in today's life, they prefer going to retreats and vacations and programs to take a break. So one way to practice the other yogas which require time, focus, resources is very difficult. It's not that it cannot be done, but it is very difficult. So, but the chanting of the holy name is considered the direct and shortcut route to achieve Vaikuntha. In all others, there is a semblance of the goal. For example, in the Hatha Yoga Pratipika, after meditating, after purifying the body, after raising the Kundalini through all the chakras, so what happens is our mind is continuously talking, da 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 da. Our mind is continuously disturbing us. But then, as the Kundalini raises in the yogi, as it goes through the back channel, the Sushumna Nadi, there are different chakras with different energy points. So when the Kundalini goes through each point, each releases a sound, the sound of a veena, the sound of a drum, the sound of kartals, the sound of mridanga. So each chakra has a beautiful sound. And the yogi says that as you get attracted to these sounds, internally, your external sounds stop. And then he goes on to say that within the heart there is Paramatma. And he says that when you completely stop your focus on external light, but you focus on the heart, within the heart, and only listen, finally there is the Om sound. And when this Om sound, when the mind completely merges in the Om sound, then one realizes Om Tad Vishnu Paramam Padam. This is what Swatmarama says in Hatha Yoga Pratipika, that one realizes the Paramatma. So, after great difficulty, the yogis, after many years, they are able to realize Paramatma. So, every yogi, every practitioner of any kind of transcendental practice, he goes through a lot of purification of the body, mind and senses. And once the purification, because of the purification of the body, mind and senses, he gets a semblance. He gets a semblance of the soul. He gets a partial understanding for the Lord. Just like, what is the difference between a karmi going to the temple and a devotee going to the temple? The karmi also has some devotion. We cannot say that he is a materialist. There is no materialist. Everybody who is coming to the temple has devotion to some degree. That is why he is coming there. But what is happening? When he is looking at the Lord, in his heart, there is the mind, right? Mind. So that is not yet purified to the degree that a devotee's heart is purified, that he can see the Lord himself. Whereas he is so full of the desires and the material ego is so strongly there, The identification with the body is so strongly there, but he has some semblance of understanding. So people are at different degrees of their spiritual path, so to speak. And every time he eats prasad, every time he does something, so that keeps on adding. Until and unless he develops a desire. So desire is the key. Ultimately, if one's desire is serious, then the Lord is within everybody's heart as Paramatma. He introduces that person to a devotee. Just like Krishna was speaking to Uddhava and Maitreya appeared there. So, by the purification of the heart, every process purifies. Karma Yoga purifies, Jnana Yoga purifies, any form of yoga, any form of cleansing, anything purifies. And once you get purified, one gets purified, he comes to Sattva Guna. So basically, in any of the yogas, one has to become situated in Sattva Guna. Then he gradually progresses from Sattva Guna to Shuddha Sattva. So that is only by the process of bhakti. In every other process, he gets stuck in Sattva Guna. Even a yogi attains siddhis and everything. This is all very high level of Sattva Guna. The only difference between Sattva Guna and Shuddha Sattva is the surrender of ego to Krishna. That in which the bhakti becomes complete. Because everything is carried out by the ego. As long as the identification with the ego. Now, even though we know we are spirit soul, how many of us are able to actually meditate on the spirit soul? Because every time you think, the problem that happens is we get caught up with so much of media, television, then we get so much with the temple politics and all the lower gunas, lower moods and all these things, and really to the degree to which we meditate on the soul, if we actually meditate on the soul, then we are blissful. Because Bhaktivedanta Saraswati said, devotee is not in the material world at all. But how many of us experience that? So this, what is there in all the other gunas is already there in the bhakti. Or rather, a bhakta should have all the good qualities from all the other yogas already included. So the next yoga contains the previous yoga, like Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga. So Jnana Yoga already contains Karma Yoga. Dhyana Yoga already contains Jnana Yoga. Means you cannot do Dhyana without Jnana. He takes the Dhyana Yoga with the complete understanding of Jnana. So similarly, Bhakti comes after Dhyana. So Bhakti includes all the other yogas. It's there. So all the other good qualities in all the other gunas should be there already in Bhakti. And Prabhupada says if one follows the path of Bhakti very, very sincerely, definitely he will get it. But then everything depends on the degree of surrender. So during Prabhupada's time, there was no question of congregation. I do a job outside and I go to temple. There was only surrender. You join the temple. Done. Surrender. Complete surrender. And what they experienced is something incredible and produced these wonderful devotees like Radhanath Maharaj, Indradevnu Maharaj, Bhakti Raghav Maharaj. I mean, it's incredible what Prabhupada produced. That is with complete surrender to the holy name. That's it. I'm going to chant the holy name. I'm going to serve. I have no desire to even maintain myself. I am just surrendering unto Krishna. And without that spirit, today the Hare Krishna movement would not have been there. But of course, the second generation, of course, now we are settling down into a different movement. Now things are a little changing. But the process remains the same. Now, how intrinsically we apply it very, very seriously in our own life, and how we chant, giving up the ego, that is the difference. Because so many devotees I am seeing, they are chanting for many, many years, and even after many years, if you see in the Mangalarti, say Romancha Kampa Sutaranga Bhajo, Romancha Kampana, complete romancha, your hair standing on end, tears coming from your eyes, and Gaur Govind Maharaj says, when you chant, if this does not happen, then something is wrong. So what is the explanation? So explanation is that we are not yet purified. So this is when, if you understand all the other yoga processes, karma yoga, jnana yoga, dhyana yoga, the processes, the purification that they undergo, the austerities that they undergo, that's why Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, when we come to bhakti, it doesn't mean that whatever there is there earlier, like most Maharajas, every day for their health, they practice yoga, they are very strict about their diet, they are very, very focused on, so we can see that there is whatever needs to be applied so that we are able to chant consistently, seriously. Because even to chant focused, you need good physical and mental health. So, therefore, Sanatana Goswami wrote the book Hari Bhakti Vilas, for example. He tells in that book how to brush, how to clean, after passing stool, why should you take bath, where did all this rule comes from? It is all from Hari Bhakti Vilas. So all these things are lifestyle and health, keeping clothes properly, all these things are very necessary. And when all these things are true, if you see Prabhupada, how he presented himself, how he kept himself very, very clean. It was said Prabhupada never touched his lips and this and that, and he kept himself completely in the mode of goodness. So this is all very little things, and if you see, the holy name is so powerful. It can take you to the next level, but then it has to be chanted also on a particular platform, and that is where the difference is between those whose sadhana is very, very powerful and those who become empowered by Lord Caitanya to preach. So one who takes care of all the detail, it's like Tamal Krishna Maharaj used to say, God lies in the details. How you really sit down, how you really work your mind and apply your mind to the chanting, hearing, surrendering, giving up ego. Because chanting 2 hours we are doing, but all the other 22 hours we should also apply the same mindset like we chant. Otherwise, 22 hours we do something else, let the mind drift, and all of a sudden 2 hours we want to chant, and then let the mind drift, and 2 hours we chant and let the mind drift. It doesn't work. If you want the real benefit of yoga, if you want the real liberation, then all the other 22 hours should be application of the same mentality. When we chant, we surrender. But then we are grasta, we have to go to office, we have to do this, and that's the art of doing work. Yoga is the art of doing work, where we do everything and yet remain unaffected. However, today people go to work, they are so stressed out, everything, there are so many tensions, problems, everything, And you can see that affects your quality of chanting. So therefore, we have to, whatever principle that helps us put our mind to chanting. I recommend that everyone should watch this lecture by Radhanath Maharaj, where recently Maharaj talks about uprooting the ego. And this uprooting the ego. Radhanath Maharaj says very beautifully in that lecture that by good sadhana, by good chanting, like all these other processes. Now coming to why I explained all the other processes is that all the other processes, this is the crux, main important point is that all the other processes, everything else, they cut down your ego to a certain degree. As you come to Sattva-guna, your ego is cut down to a certain degree. But until and unless, Maharaj says, it's like weed whacking. You can whack the weeds, they grow, whack the weeds, they grow. But until and unless you you remove the weed from the root, until and unless you remove the weed from the root, the weed will keep coming. So similarly is the case in our bhakti. It is a struggle. So until and unless the weed is removed from the root, the weed will keep growing. So we can imagine that our sadhana is slack and our 22 hours are weak. Then if our sadhana is slack, our 22 hours that we do after our chanting, if that is weak, then you can only imagine how much suffering is there. How much of this ego is coming back, and it is the wedge between the soul, super soul, and our present situation, how much this ego is dominating. So everything we do is mixed with this false ego, and pure devotion can only come when this ego is completely uprooted. Where everything is done. So real Shuddha Sattva means, if you look at the third canto creation, which I explained in one of the earlier classes. So first there is, in the creation, first comes Shuddha Sattva, Mahat Tattva, Shuddha Sattva, and then comes Ahankar. And after Ahankar, the first creation is Sattva Guna. No, this is not Shuddha Sattva, Sattva. So when that Shuddha Sattva is mixed with Ahankar, that comes Sattva Guna. So there comes the mind, when this Sattva Guna, mixed Sattva Guna, is mixed with the Ahankar. And when this ego is completely removed, that's when Shuddha Sattva, Sattva Guna converts to Shuddha Sattva. So what does this surrender of ego means? So surrender of ego means that we realize we are completely helpless. We are completely powerless. And that is the crux of bhakti. Like, if you see Ramanujacharya's followers, I met one very big doctor and he was worshipping Ramanujacharya, Sri Vaishnava. And he said, we are handicapped, we are completely helpless. I mean, the way he said it, like in a very emotional tone, I was shocked. That is the level of surrender they have. And similarly, a devotee should also feel completely meek and humble. And he should surrender himself unto the service of Guru, Sadhu, and Krishna. And that should be the surrendered way. Now, many a times we encounter when we are devotees that we find people unqualified or with lot of ego sitting in management positions, and we tend to fight and this and that. There is one approach, but the other approach is we have to become really, we have to take ourselves to a higher position, because being servitor of somebody, taking some humble position, somebody is in leadership role and I am in the secondary role, no, doesn't mean that your role is secondary. So giving up ego means where you understand that to become the servant of the servant is the higher position. Now that is tough to sometimes gulp it down your throat. That somebody is, I don't like, somebody is very tough to tolerate. But you still serve because there is something to be achieved. Of course, we have to apply intelligently for our own spiritual progress. If it is something that is needed, just like husband and wife, today there is so much divorce. Why? It is the clash of the ego. One cannot tolerate the other, or one cannot humble down to tolerate the other and give room for the other. So it is all the play of ego. So then this, I am equal to you, I am elder to you, I am bigger than you. So this is all ego. In bhakti, the more your ego is crushed, and Krishna, if you don't do it voluntarily, then Krishna ensures he does it to you. Because true bhakti can only be achieved when we surrender our ego completely. We just chant and we understand. That's why Srila Prabhupada's ultimate poem, when he came to America, he could have written saying, I have done so much tapasya, finally I reached America, now I will do big preaching, I will be the big first person. But instead look at his poem. Nachao, nachao, hey Prabhu. So Prabhupada is saying, hey Krishna, oh Krishna, make me dance, make me dance, make me dance. So he is giving up completely. Oh my God, I have nothing. You do it. That is his position. That is Prabhupada's position, where he is taking such a humble position. So similarly, a devotee always has in mind, if you see in the Bhagavad Gita also, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Ahankara vimudhatma karta aham iti manyate. Karta aham. So that means, see, even Bhagavatam says devotion can be done in the mode of goodness, passion and ignorance. Most of devotees don't even realize that they are either in the mode of ignorance, passion, or even in the mixed modes of passion, goodness, or sometimes in goodness. But only when a devotee is in the mode of pure goodness does he experience Krishna. But that means he has completely surrendered his ego and completely taken up the servitorship of Krishna. So this acceptance of the holy name. So acceptance of the holy name should be with the right understanding. Because in the beginning, Krishna does give a sample. When you chant, all of a sudden you realize Krishna is dancing everywhere, Krishna is here, Krishna is there. Then after a few years in bhakti, and all we are looking for is festivals. So, if we want to really progress, we should avoid offenses. We should accept the holy name. Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Eva Kevalam. So, taking Hare Krishna, chanting Hare Krishna and realizing the holy name to be the all in all. And that means we have to make an adjustment in lifestyle, we have to make an adjustment in our mindset. And lifestyle, that's why Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, in the 6th chapter, he tells Arjuna also, Tasmat yogi bhava Arjuna, yukta ahara viharasya, yukta chestasya karmasu. Yukta swapna avabodhasya yogo bhavati dukkhaha. So one should live a balanced life. And when one does this over a period of time, as the sattva-guna, as the degree of sattva-guna increases, the degree of ego gradually reduces. And one should always think of long-term progress. We always want to achieve something in 1 or 2 years. No, this is a lifelong project. And we have to be very steady, very serious, and beware of our ego. Because whatever Krishna wants to achieve, he can achieve through anybody. He doesn't need us. We have to realize that. He doesn't need our preaching, this or that. But if we surrender our ego to him, yes, then he will achieve. Then he will use us. So when we accept the holy name, we should always accept the holy name as everything. And without offense when we chant. And that was Mahaprabhu's mission. That Mahaprabhu always warned against Vaishnava aparadh in the teachings of Mahaprabhu. So when we accept Mahaprabhu, we have to accept Mahaprabhu in totality. He always said, eat controlled, eat less, like Dhruva Maharaj. Dhruva Maharaj achieved in 6 months, he achieved success. Why? First he ate less. Although in our ISKCON movement in the beginning we encourage eat prasad, eat prasad, eat prasad. But if you just focus on eating prasad, heavy prasad, then after that the lightness goes away, the sattva-guna goes away, the yogic mindset goes away. So the more we are controlled, the more we are focused, every year, every festival, every situation takes us to the mode of, just like Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, when he was about to leave his body, he asked, I think it was Sridhar Maharaj, to sing Sri Rupa Manjari Pada. And many people say when he sang that, he directly got the servitorship of Sri Rupa Goswami, Srila Rupa Goswami. Because they were completely in the mode of surrender. When you are in the mood of surrender, then whatever you do, it takes you immediately to that level. So therefore, Vaishnava Sangha is necessary of those who are surrendered souls, because just by being with them, serving them, you immediately get that surrender. You immediately get that mood. Yet it should be taken, you can take it in several ways. I go there, I take association, and then I go, I eat my heavy prasad, do my everything. We take association and then we serve them. We really want to learn from them. We want to inherit their qualities. And those who served Prabhupada and did that, today they are steady, they are the leaders in our movement. Many took it up, but only these sincerely surrendered to Guru Mukha Padma Vakya. So then what happens? When you take Guru Mukha Padma Vakya, Chittete Koriya Aikya, whatever he says, you take it to the heart. Then after some time, when Prema Bhakti is there, Avidya Vinasha Jate. This holy name, because the soul actually is full of knowledge, and when you come to the point of self-realization, Prema Bhakti, all knowledge is revealed. So the holy name is powerful. The holy name is powerful, but the holy name penetrates to the degree you allow it. So there is a very beautiful example in yoga. It is said like the river is flowing. The river flows. But the farmer, when he builds a nice canal for the water to get into his field, there's a big river flowing, then he has to build a pipe and bring the water to his field, and then he has to build a nice irrigation so that the water flows evenly, and then it flows evenly and nourishes his crop. So all he has to do is, the water flow is there, he has to just build that nice channel, open up. So the example is given by yogis that is how the mercy flows, that is how the spiritual energy flows. But you have to open up. You have to surrender the ego, because as long as the ego is there, the holy name cannot act. Because so once this is surrendered, then the water flows within. It makes it. And this was my biggest takeaway from listening to Radhanath Maharaj's class. And that was, although I was reading the third canto about how ego is there, but so one has to, when one accepts the holy name, one has to be very careful about this ego. Because as long as it is not uprooted, it's like a weed. So we cannot be in the mode of passion. We cannot afford to be in the mode of passion. We cannot afford to be in the mode of ignorance. We have to be in mode of goodness and constantly maintain this push of Kali Yuga and try to be in the mode of, and try to accelerate to the mode of pure goodness. With sincere chanting, sangha, control of diet, very focused on the goal, and in doing so with a proper lifestyle and practice, we will definitely grow very fast in bhakti, in accepting the so that the holy name reveals. The holy name already contains everything, but we are not experiencing it. It is only our, we can only say it is our lack of purification or our own ego which is stopping us. Hare Krishna. So I will stop here. So any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. That was a very beautiful class about chanting and the importance of uprooting one's ego to really relish the holy names. Thank you very much. Very nice applications, Prabhu. Thank you for your time and association. So if anyone else has any questions, comments or realizations, please go ahead. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you very much for your nectarian class. Especially, we have to cut our ego, and the weeds is coming. Srila Gurudev, Radhanath Maharaj always says that when in abroad there is a loan, and every 2 weeks we have to cut the weeds, otherwise that weeds will because of that weeds the good plant is affected. So we have to cut our weeds every 2 weeks. There is sometimes we also by the mercy of Radharani only we can do the seva. Without mercy of Srimati Radharani we are not qualified to do any seva. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, if it is possible, can you please sing one Vaishnav song with all of us?
What is that?
Mataji is asking for a song, Vaishnava Bhajan.
Vaishnava Bhajan, okay.
Yeah, before that, Prabhu, I have a question. Please sing. Before that, I have a question about the class. So, my point was, we see that people through different practices, they try to promote themselves to the point of sattva guna. But even for those people, actually, ego seems to be the biggest difference in their life. So even people who are in a lower mode seem to have an easier take with ego than the ones in the real sattva guna platform. Why is that so, or am I just speculating?
People, I didn't understand the second.
So I understood that when you were discussing about the layers and you were talking about how ego is, about this sattva and all these gunas, rings all explained. I could understand that part, but somehow I don't know. Maybe I'm just speculating. I always see that even people who are trying so hard to somehow come to the mode of goodness, they get so attached to the mode of goodness that they find it difficult to conquer the ego. Whereas people who are in the lower modes, because of the less attachment they have to that process, they seem to be better candidates to conquer the ego. Why is that? I don't know. Is that correct, or is that a wrong understanding?
No. The deeper modes you are very attached. Actually, this attachment is not something that is visible so easily. See, the thing is, until and unless you can see that, for example, we may say that somebody in lower mode. Okay, now somebody might be let's take this example of unattached in the lower mode. Okay, like people come to temple, they want to donate. Now those who are in sattva guna and everything say he wants to donate a plot in the temple so that people can see that he donated. Now there is a person in tamoguna, a drunkard, he may donate something, he may say, oh, it's okay, I don't want anything, just keep the money. So the thing is that here the thought process is not very clear. Now he is very attached to his drinking and everything, so, but he might be a big donor to the temple. I'm giving you a practical example. So sometimes they seem like better people, but their attachment, their tamoguna, their attachment, they fulfill at a different level. So this attachment, this ego directs you to various activities where you try to fulfill. So in one field it might look very good. So in one field it might look he is unattached, but his attachment he is fulfilling in some other field. Therefore, bhakti means where you are able to control all the fields. Just like we see certain devotees, they in certain situations they are very good, and in certain situations they are like, oh, he cannot tolerate him, he fights with this guy and this, but with him he is very good, like that. But who can be good with everyone? So one who has cleared himself from all sides. See, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna uses the word one who purifies the mind on all sides. It's very difficult to understand. Certain words are like cryptic. I was writing the second edition for my yoga book yesterday, and Pramana Viparya Vikalpa Nidras, 3 days I was trying to understand the meaning, but then when I read one Prabhupada, boom, he explains everything so beautifully. But it requires that special focus to really get to that point. So what I realized was that the mode Krishna explains, Kama Yesha, Krodha Yesha, Rajo Guna Samudbhava. You cannot be in a lower mode and be unattached. No, there is Kama, Krodha, lower mode, it is a character, but it might not be visible for the activity that he is presently there. But it is dormant, it is strongly there, and he is fulfilling it in a different way. So when you come to Sattva Guna, it becomes very visible because his thought process is very clear that he wants this, he wants this, he wants this.
Right.
But then eventually he gets liberated from it.
Makes sense.
Because Krishna says after many lives, even you go to Swarga Loka, you enjoy, you do everything, whatever you do. After many lives of that also, he is seeing that even that pleasure is, So then he gets unattached. So that is why, but bhakti is like, what do you call it? You are going in like a snake and ladder game, and this is giving you a ladder straight. But it requires that we give up ego, because if we do not do that, Adi Purush Prabhu was telling me, who is the Bhakti Shastri teacher, he said many of my disciples will also go to heaven, will also go to Swarga Loka, because of not following all the principles, or not just the regulative principles, but also principles of bhakti. And I was not surprised, but when I heard that, and he quoted from Prabhupada, and he said that is why bhakti means we should not take it for granted. It is even in bhakti our ego can retard our progress. That's the only thing.
Right. That kind of makes sense. Yeah. Thank you. And Gopika Mataji, your request.
Yeah. So Vaishnav Bhajan, I was thinking we can sing. Means I will sing, you will repeat, or how will it go?
Prabhuji, you can just sing, Prabhu.
Okay. I was actually, one song that I really like is this Radha Krishna Bol. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur sings this song, and the meaning is also very beautiful. Radha Krishna Bol Bol Bolo Re Shobhai, Ei Shiksha Diya Shabna Diya, Pir ke Niche Gaur Nitai. Ei Shiksha Diya Shabna Diya, Pir ke Niche Gaur Nitai. Mayar Bose Jacho Beshe, Sachu Habu Dudu Bhai. Mayar Bose Jacho Beshe, Sachu Habu Dudu Bhai. Radha Krishna Bol Bol Bolo Re Shobhai. Radha Krishna Bol Bol Bolo Re Shobhai. Jeev Krishna Das ei Vishwas korle to ar dukh honai. Jeev Krishna Das ei Vishwas korle to ar dukh honai. Krishna bolbe jabe pulak habe jorbi ankhi boli thai. Krishna bolbe jabe pulak habe bol jorbe ankhi boli thai. Radha Krishna bol 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 re shobhai. Radha Krishna bol 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 re shobhai. Radha Krishna bolo sange chalo ei matra bhiksha chai. Radha Krishna bolo sange chalo ei matra bhiksha chai. Jai Shakala Bipod Bhakti Vinod Bole Jakhon Onam Gai. Jai Shakala Bipod Bhakti Vinod Bole Jakhon Onam Gai. Radha Krishna Bol Bol Shobai. Radha Krishna Bol 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 Shobai. So here Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying that everybody please chant Radha Krishna. See, this is one thing in our parampara. Many devotees keep Laddu Gopal. It becomes very difficult to tell them, but Bhaktivinoda Thakur always wanted Radha Krishna together. This is the mood of the parampara. Laddu Gopal is worshipped by Kusti. So Krishna is single. No, Krishna is never single. Krishna is always with Radharani. So that is the mood of Vaishnava mood here. Ei Shiksha Diya Shabna Diya Pir se Niche Gaur Nitai. And Gauranga and Nityananda, that's what they taught us, to worship Radha Krishna together. Radha Krishna, to worship, to chant the names of Radha Krishna, Hare Krishna. Miche mayar boche jachu beshe kachu habu dudu bai. So we are all thinking in the Maya's whirlpool of sense gratification, senseless action. So here, Jeev Krishna Das, Hey Vishwas Korle to ar dukho mein. So basically, if we understand that Jeev Krishna Das, if our Jiva, if the soul is the servant of Krishna, Hey Vishwas Korle to ar dukho mein. If we do that, there is no dukkha, there is no pain. Jeev Krishna Das, Hey Vishwas Korle to ar dukho mein. So again, this was what we discussed in this whole class, that the servant, if we understand servant of Krishna, then it has got one, if we understand the material world has no value, then there is no dukkha. We are servants of Krishna. The real value of the servitor, the real value of the soul is when it goes to the spiritual world. This material world, no matter how much you do, it has no value. You have to be convinced. Krishna bolbe jabe pulak habe jorbe anki boli tai. So when you chant in such a mood of surrender, what should happen? Your eyes fill up with tears and your body will feel transcendental shivering. And chant Radha Krishna. Everyone chant. Radha Krishna bolo sange chalo ei matra bhiksha chai. So simply chant and join us. Those are the only alms I beg. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur was literally going door to door at an old age. He was a high court judge who retired and he was asking people to chant. Bipad Bhakti Vinod Bole Jakon Onam Gai says all dangers will be gone when the holy name is chanted. So what is the greatest danger among all the five avidyas is abhinivesha. Abhinivesha means deep-rooted fear of death. It said one who sincerely chants and surrenders his ego, then he has no fear of death also. That is yogi. He says there is no fear of any danger, even death. That is the devotee.
Hari Paul, thank you Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Radha Krishna bol bol bol, Radhe Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you very much for the class, very nice class, and also song. Radha Krishna bol 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 re sabai.
Hare Krishna.
If nobody has a question, does anyone have any question? We can ask to Prabhuji. If there is no question, we can end the call here. All glories to Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
I'm outside, so I can barely hear you. Sorry, I'm sorry.
Yeah, okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Wonderful class. Thank you so much. I have maybe like a little bit of a question, kind of. You as you were speaking about about trying to become detached or surrender completely. So you said surrender completely. As householders, family people, it seems to me that coming to that mood or coming to that platform, if it is, I guess I said, that platform seems very fearful for me. Not having any attachments and being completely surrendered. As you said, so it explained so nicely about how all the other previous, our gurus beforehand in their
beginning how they completely surrendered to Srila Prabhupada and how they continue to completely surrender to Srila Prabhupada. So those of us that are in this, as congregational members outside with families, work in this, how do we strive for that mood? How do we get there? Do we just chant? It seems very it seems like a pipe dream for me, something way up there. I'm never getting
very
there,
much.
Sort of.
Yeah. For example, I'll tell you my own experience. Now, if you see, like Jew temple, coming to a practical example, or even I was living in New Vrindavan, So families without kids, everything is fine. You can attend morning program, you can do this, you can do that. But families with kids, you cannot really go all temple programs, this and that,
Yeah.
You cannot really, although I was doing fundraising for the temple, I really could not give much time to family, and my family life suffered quite a bit. I learned through that. But once we came here, I focused more on family, and what I realized was that now we have 2 kids, and practically, if you see them as Krishna's responsibility, Prabhupada said they are walking deities. And it's our duty to make them Krishna conscious. And they won't become Krishna conscious until and unless you show them by example. Like every day I take my mat and do yoga, and this little guy comes and he tries to sneak in and do some pose. He's just 1.5 years old. And you really are training them with your example. So Grahastha means his concentration should be to take care of the children. At the same time, whatever is possible financially and other resources, you should try to use. You should weekends, you go on book distribution, everything, but not at the cost of family. I mean, there should be a balance. Because I know one family where they neglected, I'm in touch with them, they neglected the kids so much. I mean, they forced them too much. You have to come to temple, and now the kids, now they hate Krishna consciousness altogether. So it should not come to that level also. So it's a big responsibility that if once you have chosen the Grahastha path, then your Graha is your ashrama. So your ashram is your home. And you have to do everything around that. You have to have an altar at home. You have to have with the children, until and unless you are living directly in the temple premises. You should really focus on the children. You should really focus on the family, your health, and that's why there is 4 phases. So if you have entered Grahastha ashram, then till Vanaprastha ashram, to that point, one should build up, and one should build up, and today to give up everything and go stay at the temple, this is something impractical. And looking at especially the situation in Kali Yuga, where you cannot even have full faith what happens in a temple. So therefore it's better that a Grahastha takes care. Once you understand, you need to have an altar. So many nice devotees in Grahasthas have morning program. You don't have to have the full morning program, but at least something, where you offer an aarti, then you read a little bit Bhagavatam, and of course chant your rounds and offer to Krishna. That is real detachment, because to convert a home into an ashram, into a mini temple, you cannot have temple-like standards, but whatever possible maximum. So that is real detachment, because ultimately we know that every ashram there are surrendered brahmachari, sannyasi, preachers. Now they do their duty, but at the same time, devotees, just like Aruda Mataji, she gave an example of her 2 children who are now devotees, who she preached them through Srimad Bhagavatam. They are now employed in such big universities, and they are doing such good exemplary preaching, giving classes, traveling. So that lady showed that she is bigger than a sannyasi, bringing up 2 children in a Krishna conscious way, and now encouraging so many families to do homeschooling and others, So we can follow that example where you can convert a home into a temple, into a practical situation, which is, and I've seen many nice Grahastha devotees who are very well situated, So detachment means detachment from sense gratification. That is it. Your chanting doesn't require where you are. Your chanting requires how purified you are and how you chant. So it doesn't require that you be in the temple. You can be in the temple and you can be full of sense gratification. Yet you can be humble in your home and you can be a nice devotee. One of the nicest devotee I ever met in my life was one who translated the 12th canto, Gopi Parandan Prabhu. He was a Grahastha, and I have never seen anybody more humble than him. And depending on your varna, depending on your job, depending on your situation, you have to make minor adjustments so that we can chant. And once you're financially situated, just make proper arrangements so that you and your family, you do the minimum things, and chant. And that is detachment, that is surrender. That despite my situation, I'm doing. Krishna sees. So I will end with this, is that when Hanuman and the squirrel were building the bridge, and Hanuman was throwing big stones on the bridge. When building the bridge to Lanka, the squirrel came and was throwing small stones. And Hanuman said, "Hey squirrel, what are you doing? What is the use of your small stones? One big stone that I throw, no matter how much you work, you cannot equal the amount of this big stone." So Lord Ram came and said, what is important is not how much stone is thrown. What is important is he is doing beyond his capacity. What he is doing is beyond his capacity. He's putting his best effort. And I appreciate that surrendered attitude with whatever little he can do. The squirrel can never equal Hanuman. Similarly, a Grahastha, we may never be able to equal to what temple or this can do. But what the Lord sees is within your situation, how much you have been able to engage yourself and your family in devotion. That's what the Lord appreciates. And if you understand this, then wherever you are, whatever you can do best, that is enough. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you. The last line what you said is, first one is controlling. Am I doing it for sense gratification? That's the question. And also whatever I can do to make it more for Krishna and less for myself in my level. Thank you, Prabhu, very much. Very practical.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Very nice one. Very nice answers. Thank you. Does anyone else have any question? Then we can end the call here. Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for your very enlightening class today. And we are very grateful to you. We look forward to your association again in the future. And we can call. Somebody has any question? We can end the call here now. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhya vacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo ananta kuti vaishnava vrinda ki jai.
Jai.
श्री चैतन्य चरितामृत की जय. श्री प्रभुपाद की जय. His Grace Gaur Natraj Prabhu ki jai. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Dandavad Pranam. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.